I was born in a small mill town in northwest Massachusetts, and my parents were older when they were married, and I wasn't born until they were like 43 years old. Being involved in a small mill town and a small parish, I was very active. I remember in 4th grade, for the first time raising my hand when the pastor came into the classroom asking who wanted to be priests and sisters. For the first time I remember raising my hand and saying I wanted to be a priest. And I knew I really meant it inside my heart, and from that moment on it always kind of was a part of me. And I had a great relationship with my priest in my parish, and I really enjoyed being with them, and the associates in my parish were young priests, and I always remembered how just normal they were. We'd go snowmobiling and hiking and all kinds of things, and I just enjoyed being with them. I remember one time when I told my parents that I wanted to be a priest when I was later on in high school. I remember overhearing a conversation that my mother had with somebody, how disappointed she would be that she wouldn't have any grandchildren because I was their only son. They realized that they received me from God, and that they would give me back to God for the service of the church. For the last 2 years in college, I began dating and grew to love this one girl, and we dated for 2 years. And at the end of my senior year, I really had a burning desire. The more we grew in our relationship, the more my desire for priesthood seemed to come out. And I never talked to her about it, I just kind of kept it inside. But I needed to do something that was this interior call that was constantly inside of me, and I decided that I would pursue the seminary. At the end of my senior year, I decided that I needed to really tell her about it, and that I desired to just pursue this if this is what God was calling me to. In 1981, I had graduated from college and I entered seminary in that fall. And it was 16 days after I began my seminary training, my mother died. A few months before that, my mother had, when she was dying of cancer, had given to me in a small envelope 2 rings. And I remember her bringing them out to me, and they were my grandmother's wedding ring, her mother's, and my mother's wedding ring. And she said to me, she says, "Gary," she says, "if you ever become a priest," said, "I'd like you to place those rings on your chalice." And I remember that affecting me greatly, and I remember taking those rings and putting them in a very safe place and hoping that someday I would be able to use them, that God would ultimately call me to service in the priesthood.